Welcome everybody to the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. If you are living in the Southern California area, please check out some of our live stand-up shows. December 9th, we'll be at PBW in downtown Pomona. December 16th, we'll be in Santa Monica. December 23rd, we'll be at the Rec Room in Huntington Beach. For more information on any of these shows, please follow us on social media at Comedy Pop-Up, and please visit our website, comedypopupla.com. All right, let's get on with the show.
Hey, what's up, party people? This is comedian Ron G, and welcome to the first ever Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. I am so excited, man, for this new venture that we started on. And I just want y'all to know, man, like Comedy Pop-Up is a really dope brand where we have comedy all over the city, and it's like a training ground for comedians all over the city. That's not necessarily the mainstream thing, but it's more the comics that you don't really hear from as most, but it's really good, and we're very excited about it. So anyway, today we have an awesome show lined up for you. I have two of the dopest females in comedy in the room, and I feel even honored to have them make time out of their busy schedules to even have me interview them. So anyway, some of y'all might not know who I am, but I've had a really dope career, dope life. Got some cool stuff going on. If you might have seen me on a little show called Bill Bellamy's Who's Got Jokes, did a show. I was a finalist on Last Comic Standing. You might have seen me on season 2 of Insecure. I was the dude at the table with Tasha at Swingers. And also, I just booked this pilot for Nickelodeon. I got a bunch of cool stuff going on, and I booked a movie just now. So my career is dope, but we'll get into that later. But right now, I want to introduce our very special guests. Both of them are personal and dear friends of mine, and I'm very excited. I'm glad they had time to come by. So first up, this young lady, I've had the pleasure of watching her probably since I first started doing comedy at Uptown Comedy Club in Atlanta, Georgia. She's from DC. You might have seen her on the Chappelle Show. Was it Wanda Sykes? What was the show?
It's called it was on OWN. It's called Hilarious.
Yes. Comic View, Def Jam, and right now I think she's one of the voices on the Tom Joyner Morning Show.
Tom Joyner Morning Show, and I'm on Black Jesus.
Hey, and she's on Black Jesus. And don't you have a movie coming out too that we missed?
I don't think so.
Okay,
No.
all cool. All cool.
On Last Comic Standing.
Yeah, I was on
And
Last Comic
finalist,
Standing.
Last Comic Standing alumni. Ladies and gentlemen, show some love for Dominique.
Thank you, Ron. I'm glad to be here.
We got to get you a button, man. We got to get you an applause button or something. No applause button or nothing? You got to have an applause button in the studio. It's all good. All right. Anyway, next up, this one is a personal friend of mine. I've had a chance to sit on the sidelines and in the bleachers and watch her grow, man, and just what her voice has turned into. It makes me very excited because I always praise both of these women, even when they're not around, about how I think it's dope to see women of color create their own lane in comedy. And these two have definitely done that. This next young lady, she's also Last Comic Standing alumni. She has her own podcast called Truth Serum. Just dope, powerful. I hope she runs for office one day. Ladies and gentlemen, show some love for Miss Aida Rodriguez.
Hey, Aida.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's so fun. You're like the third person in the last 2 weeks who asked me to run for office.
You should,
But
because you
you'll
got
be
it.
good, though.
She got it.
Yeah,
that's
you
how
will
you
be
get the people hard. You make them laugh and get them all vulnerable and open up, and then you drop some heat on them.
You don't
and then
want to?
they don't know what to do with it.
No, I don't think I'm too emotional. I'll hit somebody. Especially with what's going on today in politics. Man. I would have been in Puerto Rico and they would have threw them paper towels at me.
Oh,
Man, let me tell you
man.
I would
something.
have threw them back.
Oh, man.
So, also too, I was a
bad.
writer, producer on a show for CNN called United Shades of America, and we actually won an Emmy too. So I've had a really great year.
Yes, you didn't give yourself that credit. You got to
Oh,
say
yeah,
an Emmy Award.
Sorry, Emmy Award winning writer
you
producer
gotta
on my
say
first
that.
producer gig.
Yeah.
I'm very happy about that. But
love that show.
one of the episodes on CNN, we actually went to Puerto Rico, and I didn't realize there were so many facts and nuances about Puerto Rico that would never mention that we don't even know about. Like example, Puerto Ricans, they're U.S. citizens, but they're not allowed to vote for president.
That's right.
Which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Right. There's more Puerto Ricans in New York than there is in Puerto Rico.
Yep.
And one is because of the job opportunities. Didn't know that. Then they have a little town in Puerto Rico with darker skinned Puerto Ricans who are actually descendants of the Moors. And if you know anything
Right.
about the Moors and you study, Black history, like they're like the people who created half the stuff that we do now. It was stolen from them basically anyway. And to see all this culture in Puerto Rico, man, and learn about how they get treated, it was very hurtful to like know that this is so many subcultures in American culture that gets treated bad by the government, and they're all demonized. Like to hear Puerto Rico go off on the governor, was it the governor or the mayor?
She's the mayor.
The mayor about Puerto Rico's in way better condition, and it's still like 70% of the people there don't have water or electricity. And it's just terrible
It's
to see
worse
that, man.
now.
So, but again, like that's why I always value your voice because you speak of being of African descent, which sometimes Puerto Ricans they
Yeah.
separate themselves. I'm like, we all in the same boat because if a race riot broke out, they consider a nigga.
Yes, absolutely.
I said nigga on our first podcast. Yes, we did. You need an applause button. I said nigga on the first podcast.
You need a sound effect button.
We
for
need
that.
something, man.
we do. But it was in order. It was needed.
Absolutely, man. But it's just really dope, man. And I just think I'm very grateful for both of y'all because we live in a time where I feel like the guard is the changing of the guards is happening where men normally run stuff and men are normally the voice of everything, and then it's normally white men, being the voice of everything. And now these black voices are coming up, and then these voices of color of women like Ava DuVernay and all these really dope producers and really distinguished women in Hollywood making these things, man. Do you feel like it's important to speak out about those things from the stage, or do you kind of separate those things? And either one of y'all can answer that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think why would. I mean, it's your platform.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you? I mean, it might be hard for people to take.
Yeah.
Like I have people come up to me after the show and this white guy told me, you were doing good until you talked about Donald Trump and all that. I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he just stood there and looked, okay. But I told the truth. That's why you were offended.
Yeah.
And you heard people laugh at what I was saying. So I definitely think you should. But I mean, it's an individual thing. Some comics
people
don't.
They're
afraid to. They think it's offensive. I don't really think that's offensive.
They worry about their money instead of just speaking your truth.
Yeah, speak your truth. It's not anything that's derogatory to me.
Yeah.
So,
And I think there's a tasteful way to do it too, because I have this joke about gentrification, and I do this whole bit about how gentrification and how I don't like it. And then later on, I say, I speak my truth because when you create an environment where only one voice matters, that's an environment for racism.
Absolutely.
And there's so many different voices that make up this country that it's important to hear these voices. That's how you come to a conclusion on resolving some of this stuff. Like people demonizing Black Lives Matter or demonizing these Muslim organizations that's speaking up against themselves. And all these organizations are only caused because they don't have a voice. You know what I'm saying? The Black Panthers came about because they didn't have a voice.
Yes.
All these Native American I forgot what it's called.
The Black Panthers came about because black children needed lunch.
Yeah.
Right. That was part of it.
No, but I'm saying it was also a nutrition program, and you never hear about that. You never hear about
You
that. always hear about the guns and the leather jackets, which I thought were pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
They were fashionable.
They were dope.
Right. And the afro.
But I think if you're a stand-up comedian and you don't use your platform, then where? Because at this point, you can't talk about anything anywhere else. Everybody else gets fired from their jobs. That's the final frontier. And if we get to the point where we let people police us about what we're going to talk about, we might as well be in Russia, or in China. Because that's the end. If comedians can't say it, then who's going to say it? That's our job.
And you know what I found out too? We actually, CNN went to Oakland and went to the Black Panther Museum. School lunches were started in was made a part by the government because of the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
Because the Black Panthers started it, the government got mad and was like, yo, let's go ahead and do this for the people instead of making that an already initiative. You know what I'm saying? But the Black Panthers started that too.
All the time. It wouldn't be
Man,
a
let me tell you
society
something.
if you didn't hack out swag.
Man,
I mean, let's keep it real.
I say this on stage all the time. I feel like black women are the creators of all things dope in entertainment, fashion, and even in music. If you think about it, even a lot of the gay culture comes from things that black women do. You know what I'm
We
saying?
Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Well, gay men emulate. A lot of gay men, not all of them, emulate black women. What they think a black woman is supposed to. Their idea of a
they put a little extra seseasoning on it. But
the snapping the fingers and all of that stuff is because of
calling
black
a woman
women.
a B and it's comfortable. Like,
because black women are strong, and so that's a symbol of strength to them. Mm-hmm. But it gets, I really wish my Latin people would embrace their blackness. It really would make for a better place for all of us, because if we had some solidarity, we could probably gain some ground.
Yeah, we need those allies
I think that they will, but they have to. But it's just like with black people. When you're dealing with people and people don't like to talk about this, We are weary people.
Mm-hmm.
Even Latino people, we are weary people. Yes, things have gotten better for us, and we're able to do things that we weren't able to do in the 60s. And, things have gotten better, but we still live under this system of oppression.
Yeah.
Even though things are better. So we are weary people. So when you're dealing with weary people, sometimes it's fear there.
Mm-hmm.
There's anger there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard for us to kind of come together, but I'm always hopeful
Yeah.
and prayerful.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
it'll all mesh and it'll work out.
Absolutely. And this is one thing I learned too, especially maybe y'all can speak on this as well. Being from South Carolina, a little small town, and pursuing my dreams to the point where I have this gift that takes me all over the world. I've been to London, I've been to Africa, I've been to Dubai. I haven't been to Dubai yet. I've been to Japan, I've been to Dubai, I've been all over the world, and you see how people live, man. You don't realize how blessed we are, even though we have this blanket of oppression over us. We're still very blessed. But the problem is too, we don't realize our identity because of slave culture.
Right.
Like example, when I go to London, all my friends are from where they're from, but they live in London. I got friends that are Jamaican and African. We go to the club and they're like, Africa, they playing Afrobeats music. All the Africans lose it. And they got Jamaican like, bo, bo, bo. And I'm like, South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? And they like,
And you
what?
are not from South
And they like, you don't
Carolina.
know where you from? And I'm like, no. And I have no clue. But in the States, because we don't know our identity, we take so much pride in our city. Like our city is the most important thing. That's why I was like, even Puerto Ricans, y'all like Puerto Rico, but you live in
New York.
but you're prideful. Sometimes that's because of lack of identity. We will settle for our city's the most important thing. Or you don't represent your city. You don't like, but in the real, it doesn't matter because we're not really from here. We're from
West Africa.
Yeah.
Well, that's where most of the slaves came from. But Puerto Ricans, we do bang hard.
Y'all go hard.
My uncle wears Puerto Rican socks.
Right.
He got a tattoo. But it's because of what you said about when
being displaced.
Puerto Rico was occupied by the United States.
Yes.
And we are Commonwealth, which means we are the stepchild. So we fight for our identity because it's all we got left. You know what I mean? They really, and that senator said it best. It is, we were occupied. We were invaded. We didn't ask America to come there and do what they did. We were invaded and stripped of our autonomy. So there's such a battle, especially even Puerto Ricans from the islands look down on Puerto Ricans that are in New York.
Yeah.
It's just, everybody needs a Negro. Everybody needs somebody to look down on and feel better about.
They do.
Absolutely. But again, like we have subcultures inside of cultures that try to make others feel less than because of how they're raised.
Oh, yeah.
Because you ain't no real nigga. You ain't no real because you went to school. Like, no, we all black.
Yes.
We all in the same boat. When it all come down to it, we all black and we all under that umbrella where
it would be a great thing though if Latino people and black people got that.
Ooh.
I had to even educate people in my own family. Like I'm from DC, so there's starting to be an influx like in our neighborhoods. and
Gentrification.
stuff. Yeah, it's
DC's
a lot of
very
Latino
white.
people. So I had to tell them, y'all got this thing twisted. These our people.
That's
Right.
right.
I said they speak Spanish, but these our people. You living amongst your people, because if it go down, Poppy gonna come out their house and he gonna be ready.
He has
Right,
to.
right.
He gonna be ready because
Right.
he know, he gotta be ready. So if we could understand that would even help us because it's power in numbers. If we can even get there, you speak Spanish, but we the same people.
Right.
Divide and conquer.
That's all it is.
Absolutely.
The greatest
Oh,
mind
God.
school.
Absolutely. And if you're just tuning in, we actually, this is the comedy pop-up where we don't small talk at all. And we don't do small talk, man. And I just want to say, like, I'm here with two of the dopest female comedians in the game, Miss Dominique and Miss Aida Rodriguez. And we're talking about comedy, this culture of women having a voice. And I actually just want to segue into them two being really dope female comedians. It's really hard for female comedians now. Like probably less than 5 years ago, I remember there was a time where there was no black women on TV like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like before Scandal came on, there was no black women. I have so many female friends that are really dope actresses, and they're frustrated because they don't have a voice. They feel like they didn't have a platform to share their art. And I'm like, yo, start your own. And for some reason, I don't know where Scandal popped up, How to Get Away with Murder, Being Mary Jane, all these great things happening. And now women are doing their thing. And you notice, even like with Girls Trip, broke every record and rule of movie cinema by having black female leads, and something special about putting a female comedian in a TV show, or putting comedians back in TV shows and major movies
Yes.
where magic is happening again. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And I just want to say one
Go
thing.
ahead.
Before Girls Trip, the biggest comedy of the year was How to Be a Latin Lover, which is was a Latin movie. So the two biggest comedies of the
That's
year
dope.
were Black and Brown.
Right.
Eugenio Derbez's movie was Salma Hayek, and it's a kids movie called How to Be a Latin Lover. And then Girls Trip came through and smashed. But it made me so happy because I was like, the two biggest movies of Black and Brown, you know.
And the difference is too having it produced by Black people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because a lot of times they'll like see the magic of putting Black and Brown in the show, and they'll produce it by white people, and it's just not as authentic as it can be. You know what I'm saying? But it's something special about having your people produce stuff. Because I'll say the Black folks, we magical.
Yeah, well,
I know this might be an international podcast or whatever, but
no, but it's just
I just believe that Black folks are magical. If you think about all the great things that are on TV right now, that basically is prostituted by stealing from us and making it like they got a show about rap battle, freestyle battle, with celebrities. You know what I'm saying? Or they have a show about quoting lyrics or whatever. What is it? Quoting lyrics, and it's like stuff that Black people. Or the show, Yo Mama. Yeah. On MTV.
Yeah.
Stuff we do in the hood for free. Poor little Black kids. You know what I'm saying? We bag on each other, and then they take that, put some production behind it, and now it's a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or think about every challenge that we like on social media. The mannequin challenge. It costs you no money.
The list is like
For the D challenge, some poor kid in the hood did this thing on social media. It blew up, and then everybody doing it now. You know what I'm saying? Making it popular.
Yeah.
But and also I wanted to say that going back to How to Be a Latin Lover it was produced by a comedian.
Right.
Eugenio Derbez is like the biggest Latin comedian in the world.
Yeah. Wow.
He's Mexican, and they gave him a deal on his terms. He was like, I want to make movies with people who look like me. And now he has a deal, and he did that movie, and it went bananas. He went and got Salma Hayek. And it's a really big film. And then, Malcolm Lee and Will Packer did Girls Trip. So,
absolutely.
But I always been for the comedians because it's like, when you see a comedian taking business to that level like that.
It's dope. Yeah.
And he starred in the movie, but he also produced it and wrote it. And it's like, we're not just one-dimensional people, you know?
And something is happening. Something is happening right now into Hollywood. I think like in the 90s when Def Jam was hot, it was a Black renaissance where all the comedians on Def Jam was getting their own TV shows. Yeah. And then for a while, they was doing a lot of, Judd Apatow movies where it's like a lot of improv guys were getting on. And there was no comedians nowhere in sight. And now that we're putting comedians back in the forefront, like the Carmichael Show, you know what I'm saying? All these other shows. Yeah. Like it's happening again where comedians are getting their own shows and making it happen. What's my man named Fowler? Jermaine Fowler got his show. All these really great shows of putting comedians at the forefront. And I feel like that's always been a part of American history, having really dope
even
comedians of color.
Aziz Ansari's show is written by a Black woman.
Oh yeah. Right. It's happening.
She won an Emmy for it.
Absolutely, she did.
And now she has her own show on Showtime called The Chi.
And she deserves every bit of that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really cool. And I'm so doggone happy for Tiffany Haddish right now. Like, let me tell you something.
Yeah,
she and Cardi B is American Dream right now. Like,
Cardi B.
I like to see when you see a comic and you seen them work and you seen them grind.
Man, she did the work.
Yeah, she did.
She did the work. And her story is so amazing, man. She's going from foster care, and now she's like an A-lister. Yeah. And hosting Saturday Night Live. Like, how dope is that?
It's dope.
Every morning I used to talk to Tiffany. We used to cry on the phone together because we'd be so frustrated with comedy. Yeah. But she's like one of my mentors in comedy because she's been doing stand up twice as long as me.
Right.
And it's like people don't you become an overnight success in Hollywood. People don't know what your overnight is. It's like 20 years,
20-something years. Man. That's your overnight.
Yeah, and she's always been generous, and she's always I'll get a phone call all the time. They'll be like, "Hey, Tiffany said your name to do this job." And, I'll call her and say thank you. And she's always like, "You a single mother. I got,
That's her too.
Yeah.
And she's so awesome. Her and I had the same agent for a while. She left the agent and blew up. Oh yeah, absolutely. And she blew up. And one day she had a conversation with me and it changed my life. She's like, "Ron, you should have been famous 5 years ago. Do your thing."
Yeah, she told me.
You know what that means? Just do your thing. When I left, when I tell you, I booked like 9 things in 3 months.
I hate
and
to
like
say
my life
but
completely changed.
When you leave them agents, it seemed like it got better for you.
Yeah. But you got to know too, because like I feel like especially our people, we're so loyal.
Yes,
for no reason. And sometimes, and that's what Tiffany said. She said your loyalty gonna keep you behind.
It keeps we are friends to them, but they're not friends to us.
They don't care nothing about us.
I was at an agency, a pretty big agency, which I'm not with anymore. last year, or a couple of years ago, not last year. But when I first got to the agency, the agent had dropped 11 comics, right? What? And one of them I knew was my friend. And I asked him, I said, you dropped my friend, like what happened? He was like, oh, nothing it happened. It's just, she wasn't bringing any money. It was just business.
Right.
Fast forward a year later, a male comic friend of mine who was on Last Comic Standing with me, he fired that same agent. Yeah. And that agent was so butthurt. He was so sad. He was like, I helped build this career. I said, I thought it was just business. Yeah. It's always business when it comes from them.
Yeah. But when it comes to us, it's not business.
And we get so caught up with, I can't do that. They got me when nobody wanted me.
Yeah. And there's something too about knowing your value in Hollywood too. Sometimes you don't know. You come out here with this dream, you got all these hopes, you don't know your value. You don't know that as a comedian, you have currency where they can't put you toe to toe with a straight actor and you're doing comedy. They can't, it's not going to happen. Or, if you need somebody to be a brand ambassador, comedians over 9 times out of 10 are going to kill it. But also too, when you don't know your value, you stay loyal to people because you feel like they gave you a shot that nobody else wouldn't. Yeah. Which is my thing too. My agent was my first agent ever. And I was, oh my God, thank you for choosing me. And after a while I started booking stuff. And I was like, something don't feel right. And I had an audition and somebody was like, why you still with her?
Me too.
Yeah, they was like, why you still with her? And I'm like, I don't know. And it was like,
You know what happened to me with her? Her husband called me beautiful in front of her.
Yeah.
And I never got another audition. She kept trying to make me go out for auditions. That was 8 years ago. She was trying to make me go out for auditions with, one audition was I had a 30-year-old daughter.
With Cicely Tyson?
Yeah, it was like that, right?
You had a 30-year-old daughter?
She was like, I don't think you realize that your voice, you sound older. So when I went to the audition, the casting director got mad at me and was like, tell your agent don't waste my time like this. Right, you don't fit this
absolutely
breakdown. And then I was like, I got to get away from that lady.
Yeah.
And me and Tiffany both prayed over you.
Yeah.
Look, I'm glad y'all got rid of her.
Yeah.
No, when I did Last Comic Standing and I saw her and she doesn't speak to me.
That's good for you though.
That's good. She's a bitter lady. She don't speak to me either. She was mad at me too.
But I think a lot of them bitter.
My life changed. I was so happy about that. My life was incredible.
Yeah. I went in there one time. She was messing with some stones because she was like, I believe in these stones.
Man, let me tell you something. Yeah, we're not even gonna talk about that. Yeah.
Stones.
Yes, stones. It's it was a massage table in the office.
What?
Yes.
Some weird stuff going on.
It was crazy, but it's Hollywood. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, you listen to the Comedy Pop-Up. I'm your host, Ron G. In the room, we have Dominique and Aida Rodriguez, man. We're talking about Hollywood and all things awesome. I want to shift gears a little bit, talking about basically your journey being female comedians. I know we all kind of grew up in comedy at different times. I grew up in a time in comedy where I was under the Comedy View Cats. All the Comedy View Cats had a certain kind of voice. And I was the dude from the hood, but I went to college.
How many years you been doing stand-up?
12.
Okay.
12, 13 years. I think 13 years, actually this month. And then I grew up under these cats, and I'm trying to use my voice at a Uptown Comedy Club on Apollo night. And ain't nothing but dope dealers and strippers trying to speak.
Word.
And they booing me before I even say hello. Judging my shirt. You know what I'm saying? And my first time on stage, they told me to kill myself.
Yeah.
Crazy. But these comics now, they don't even know that. They don't even know that that's a thing. But I do believe when you kind of grow up in those environments, you become fearless. Because once you graduate, you are basically, and I feel like DC is one of those cities. Like DC, Chicago, and Atlanta are really strong comedy cities. And once you grow up in that, it changes your perspective on comedy. What, because even you growing up, you started in DC, right? Mm-hmm. What changed it to where, because you have for me, when I see you perform, you remind me of my cool cousin. Mm-hmm. I like her. I want to be around her. You the cool cousin in the room. How did you transform from that, quote unquote, urban comedy to a more of a mainstream voice, being from where you're from? You know what I'm saying? How did you because sometimes cats only perform in a certain side of town, and that's their voice. So when they travel, they only can touch a few people. But for you, I've seen you rock a room full of everybody. Doing Chocolate Sundays, you coming up and destroy it, and you've traveled so much. How do you open your mind up to be that type of comedian? Based on you being from DC.
But see, I left my hometown. I think a lot of comics they don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you stay in your hometown, you're not going to be broad. Yeah. You're just not going to be broad. So I'm from DC. New York is 4 hours from where I live. So I moved to New York. And we were hosting a room, myself, Joe Claire and Red Grant.
I love how y'all talk. Your room?
Yeah,
it's a room.
A room. Yeah.
Go sweep the room to brum.
We were so we were hosting this room, right? And Mike, he's a friend of ours. Mm-hmm. So he would come to this room, and one day we were just sitting there talking at this room. It was Monday night room, and he was like, you know what? If you ever get yourself a shot, you got to get out this little town.
Yeah.
And it made sense. Mm-hmm. I had done all the little rooms and everything. It was like, okay, it made sense. So I went to New York. So once I went to New York and I moved to New York, it was a game changer for me.
Right.
With all the different ethnic diversities and all that. I mean, you go to Brooklyn, one part of Brooklyn, you in Jamaica. Right. You come down to Harlem, you in Puerto Rico.
Yes, man.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You go uptown a little bit, you in Dominican. You feel what I'm saying? So you got all these different cultures. And then there was a club called Caroline's. It still is a club.
Caroline's, yeah, absolutely.
So Caroline's.
On Broadway.
I would work Caroline's with Tracy Morgan.
Hey.
Me and Tracy were cool.
I heard he kind of like discovered you. Is that the thing? Or he kind of like saw you and was like, yo, I want you to feature for me or something like that?
Right. He saw me somewhere and he did say that.
Yeah.
He's like, I want you to feature for me. I was like, all right, just tell me, you cannot tell me where to go.
Shoot me the address.
Shoot it to me.
Yeah.
Because I need to, and I'm living in a hole in the wall for real.
Yeah.
So I went to Caroline's, and once I went to Caroline's, and this audience, of course, is an all white audience, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what really made me comfortable is he got this all white audience, but Tracy straight nigga with his.
Right.
That's number 2. Ding, 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 ding.
Right. We got 2 niggas on the comedy pop up.
He said, he straight go in and I ain't Tracy Jordan or whatever his name is. So I started doing Caroline's, and once I did Caroline's, that really helped me because even without Tracy, they liked me. So I was able to still work that club. So I gotta say, New York, I'm from DC. That's where I started. But as a comic, New York City birthed me all day. I lived in the Bronx. Shout out to the Boogie Down.
Hey, my cousins are.
I also feel like too, especially DC people in general, you so in tune with politics. Like I know hood dudes in DC that's talking about the Electoral College. You like, how do you know that? But
earthquake,
and that happens nowhere else in the world but DC. You see like thug dudes. You can tell they got 2 strikes. And know all about the political system, which
they
is
talk
really
about
dope.
it different, but they be like, yo, man, that motherfucker on Pennsylvania Avenue, ruining the city, shawty. Whole city done, shawty. Man, he's sitting his fat ass up there. Yeah, so we really are in tune to politics,
Absolutely. And you, Aida, so
y'all right down the street.
We right down the street.
I've seen you grow so much too, man. And I remember when you first started, you was just strong-minded, funny girl, but then your voice outside of that grew to where you're speaking up boldly about women having a voice and women standing out in the industry and not silencing yourself for men. When did that happen for you?
Well, when I started doing stand-up, I was homeless. Me and my kids were homeless. And I had one of those genius ideas.
When we did the show in Long Beach?
Yeah, I was homeless. Really? And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do stand-up. The brokest part of the
entertainment. You was funny then.
Well, I had
on an empty stomach, killing it. Stomach growling.
But so, I started thinking about things that, why I was homeless. And a lot of it had to do with my relationship with my ex-husband and the oppression of being a married woman. Yeah. My family telling me what to do. And I had always wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but my family was like, that's for men, Latin people don't do that and all that stuff. So finally, when I started doing stand-up, I made a decision that, I wanted to talk about, the thing is I came to stand-up comedy as a grown-up. You know what I mean? I knew who I was as a woman.
Right.
So all I needed to learn was skill and technique and to, respect the craft and to develop as a comic. So I made a decision. You are one of the people who will always tell me, be true to your voice, be true to your voice. You always used to be, like Morpheus in my ear. Like, remember your voice, remember who you are. Yeah. You ain't got to be like everybody else. But I have to tell you, when I first started doing stand up, I can't tell you how many people will always try to derail me into something else. I had comedians tell me to go on stage and talk about my hair, like my complexion. What? Like you need to let these people know. And I'm like, let them know what? Slave? Like I don't think like that. My mentality is not like that. And I have so much more to say. But I have made a decision, I would say maybe about when my grandmother died in 2013. And I said, I'm gonna just be me. and I'm going to do what I came to do, and I'm just going to be myself and stop apologizing for it. Because even Enz used to always tell me, you too strong, you too much, you too offensive, you always going too hard. You need to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I said, and then I would watch some male comics go on stage and do twice as much as what I did.
Right.
And nobody would say anything to them.
No.
And and even in like mainstream, because I work a lot of mainstream rooms. I'm a regular at the Cellar. I work at the Stand, and I can see sometimes when they're like, she's too much for like a woman of color. Like she needs to dial it back. Like, why is she not dancing?
Right.
Why she's not like, why is she not,
She's
talking about
mouthy.
Yeah. Like who do you think you are to say that to us?
Yeah.
I just had to make a decision, and I did that about maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I was like, I'm just going to do me. And because I didn't set out to do comedy to be famous. I want to really be a great stand-up.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, I don't care what happens. If they blackball me, if they say I don't care. I'm going to tell my truth. And I'm just going to move forward with that. And that's when it started changing for me.
Because I can feel it, man. Just the response you get on stage from women is like so amazing. Like, I feel like that night you was probably one of the few people who got to stand on stage because women like connected to you so well when you were speaking. You know what I'm saying? And being so unapologetic about it and watching the men's faces too was so funny because I think somebody before you went up talking about women anyway.
Oh, when he shitted on us.
And then you cleaned it up and it was like, it's amazing. That's why I was like pushing, like, yo, like she's dope and I love her voice, man. It's really cool.
I appreciate it. But you got to think that, and I don't mean to cut you off, but as female comedians, because we are captive audience members of comedy, we have to be there all the time. We go through night after night after night after night hearing men talk shit about women constantly. They degrade us. They call us hoes, bitches, side bitches. What they do to us, they come on our faces. They say the most heinous things about women all the time. There's always
show.
Yeah, every single show. There's only probably one woman on the show. And by the time you get on stage, you have been objectified. You've been oppressed. You've been verbally assaulted. And we get on stage with a deficit. We have to climb out of a hole because they've already assaulted our gender and they've assumed that we're not funny because we're women.
Yeah.
So we got to battle that when we get on stage. And so by our psychology, some women give into that and they be like, fuck it, I'm just going on stage and masturbate. And then there are people like us who are like, fuck that. I'm going on stage and I'm going to be just as great as Ron G and just as great as Sydney and tell my story and be just as relevant and just as powerful. Because it messes with your psychology. It's like all the time. You don't understand, like the things that when I sit in the green room sometimes, that's why I don't sit in green rooms anymore.
Right. I don't go in a meeting.
Yeah, it's disgusting what you hear.
That's crazy, man.
It's crazy. And after a while, you just learn to tune it out. But then with all that happening that Aida just said, but then they'll come back and say, all we do is talk about sex.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Exactly.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Men talk about sex all the time.
Right.
That's all y'all. Really?
Right.
What you talking about? You know, so
Exactly.
it's really weird.
I agree, and it's to the point where all the derogatory terms we call women is like normal.
Yeah.
Like it's normal to call a woman a B casually in casual conversation.
Oh yeah, the comedians that now you're the only one. And Sydney didn't. It's not, we don't, it's a noun. It ain't like, well, the ladies is, cause B's this, B's that, B's this.
Yeah, that's the normal. Cause I saw that. Right. Cause they had I use that word every now and again. That's my curse word. And, even on Twitter, they had this big thing of men are trash hashtag. And basically it was like the hashtag men are trash and all these encounters of why men are trash. And like dudes were defending like, man, we ain't all that bad, but it's like the same thing we do for women. Like, we got this category that's like so normal to call a woman a B. When you say men are trash, dudes are offended because we so used to like being the only voice in the room. You know what I'm saying? That's why I really respect you. Also, I was going to say this too, and I don't know your situation, but you can chime in. I respect the fact that you're like, comedy is already hard as it is. Yeah. And living in LA is its own animal that you can't describe to anybody. It's the most humbling, most depressing thing ever. Coming to LA with this hope and this dream, and you got somebody who's a dick in between you and the stage, and all you want to do is work your craft, and you got somebody telling you not enough. You go to auditions, you hear no's, you don't have an answer to why you hear no's. You know what I'm saying? From trying to just get in a comedy club. They're like, you got to pay. I'm like, yo, like, I just want to be here. I want you in the room. Or you go into a comedy club that you feel like you should go to and nobody in the room looks like you. So you walk into this room trying to find your space in this room, trying to like just feel like you fit in because you don't look like everybody else. And then you have these people that have agents and nobody tell you nothing. Then you go from being a nobody to once you get on and all the people that you think cool with stop speaking to you because you're a threat now. And it's so weird.
Yeah.
And to go through all that, outside of that, and your mother too, like to be a mother and go through all that. How do you balance the weight of being an entertainer in Hollywood and then coming home and having enough for your kids to encourage them as well? How do you balance that thing?
Well, one thing I will say, I'm not a very cocky person by nature because I was raised by a humble woman and I believe humility is what feeds me. But if I can say one thing is, if I'm not good at anything else in life, I'm a good mother. And
Absolutely.
I was really good to my children. And I believed, I waited before I hit the road because I was like, my daughter needs me. Mm-hmm. And I always felt if I honored my kids, that God would honor me. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened because people would be like, you're going to get too old. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to believe what I'm going to believe. I'm not going to abandon them for Hollywood. But, you know, it's been a lesson for, especially my daughter, when she hit high school, I could always relate to her because Hollywood is just like high school. And I'd be like, when you're popular, everybody wants to be your friend.
Oh
Something messes up, you know, you fall in a puddle, everybody talks about you. That's what my career is like. So it was very, very easy for me to be able to give them life lessons in terms of what I learned. But one of the things I decided when I started doing this entertainment business, I've been in it my whole life, was that my integrity was never going to be negotiable.
Right.
So
say it, Aida.
whatever was going to happen,
right.
Say it.
So I was like, look, I'm not, and when I laugh at all the sexual assault things that I see. Now I'm laughing at sexual assault, but I see all the white women and you hardly see any women of color talking about it because we don't snitch.
Right.
But if women of color started putting really
it'd be bad.
hitting on that. But the truth of it is that, you know, I was like, I don't want it that way. Cause I want to be great and respected by my peers. And that's what I want.
Absolutely.
So if I don't get to be famous and I don't get to make movies and that's okay with me. I've reconciled that within myself because my soul is not negotiable.
Right.
And that was one of the greatest things that my kids they will always say, she ain't gonna sell out for nothing. I know.
And that's and I'm the same person.
Yeah.
You know, whatever work I do, I have to be integral with it.
Yeah, you are.
You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that I could have done. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. Why?
Yeah.
You know, if God gave me a gift and I'm talented, why I gotta go down that road
That's
like
right.
that? Why
Right.
I gotta do that?
Because I hear stories of young female comics, man. Y'all know how hard it is, man. This dude won't take me on the road, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
we all heard that story before.
right.
That ain't
And it's like,
nothing
and
new.
that's normal. You know what I'm saying? The fact that y'all have to go through that. That's why I really admire y'all and I applaud y'all for
We just
starting your
said
own
no.
lane. Right.
And it's worked so far. We still sitting here.
Right.
It
Right.
ain't so bad. You know, we still sitting here. You know, and it's good.
And I
It's been
applaud that because,
good,
like,
you
again,
know.
y'all like the American dream. Like two black women being headliners in this comedy game.
We doing all right.
Being headliners in this comedy game, which is really hard to do. Like, to become a headliner, like,
And God gonna honor your integrity.
absolutely.
I think so too.
Oh
I
man, He
believe
gonna
that.
honor your integrity. He gonna honor the fact that you stood on something.
Right.
Yeah.
I ain't doing
Because
anything.
once your name gone, you ain't gonna never get that back. In this comedy game,
Oh no.
because
can't.
people say women are messy. Men are messy in comedy.
They're
messy.
worse.
They worse.
Yeah, we're messy, man.
And you only listen. The
Chatty
reality,
Cassies.
you only gonna sleep your way to the middle in comedy. You know,
That's it.
You
Right.
can't fake an hour of stand up.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you sleep with
Hey.
to get whatever opportunities
Hey.
you get.
Yeah.
When you hit that stage by yourself, because that guy's not gonna be on stage with you. What are you gonna do for an hour?
Yeah.
What you gonna do? And the truth is, I see the young comics. I see the ladies who are negotiable. I know the stories, but the truth is, they ain't got no funnier. You know what? That D ain't got you no funnier, girl.
Right,
you
right,
better
right.
hit that mic and put that D down, because the truth of it is that, you know, everybody, you know it. It can never, Jay Leno has said it best. It's never too late, but it can be too soon.
Yeah.
And you want to get, so many people want to get on the road so fast without
thirsty for
being
that
ready.
fame. Yeah.
They're not ready. And, you know, I watched this woman here.
It kill you if
I
you're
watch
not
it.
ready.
I know. Yeah.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
sure you got a whole pocket full of stories of people who got on fast and cut corners, and now they have no career because they weren't ready for that fame.
I watch her and I said, it ain't just an hour of comedy. It's an hour of good comedy. Because you could go up there and talk trash for an hour. But what if there's no crowd work? What if you have no opportunity for crowd work?
Right.
What you gonna do?
And sometimes even when you do, they're not receptive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's all I used to do when I first started. Oh, I thought I was a killer. And then there was this dude named Pop Thomas, a promoter in D.C. He's like, okay, you funny. He said, but when this crowd stop laughing at you, what you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
He said, when this crowd work don't work, I was like, I don't know.
right.
He was like, you
Right.
better start getting some jokes. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And I ain't believe him at first. And then one time, woo, it went bad.
You ate it?
Ooh, I
Ate
said,
all of it.
ooh, he ain't bullshit.
With a fork and a spoon.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I gotta start writing down a little something.
Right.
'Cause that ain't gonna do it.
So check it out, man. We right here, Comedy Pop-Up. Again, we don't small talk here. I'm your host, comedian Ron G, with Aida Rodriguez and Dominique, man. We just having a good time in the studio. So listen, man, we are getting ready to head toward the last portion of the show. And I got a few questions I want to ask both of y'all.
You're really good at this.
Thank you.
You
I'm
are,
learning.
Ron. You are.
Thank you. Again, I don't small talk. This is my regular conversation,
you're-
so
No, but
I'm
you're
learning.
good. This is gonna be good. You're good.
Thank
at
you. And I
this.
want y'all to be
Yeah.
great too. So I don't small talk, but I like asking interesting questions toward people. So
Okay.
there's no time limit on this question. I just want you to
And you do this in real life.
I do.
Because I'm your friend.
Right. Yeah. I don't ask about how was your day. I'm like, no, how's your heart?
How
How your heart doing? Let's talk about it. Huh?
How you walking how's your walk with
Got
the
that
Lord
old
going?
black soul. That's what it is. So listen, I'm gonna ask y'all a few questions. You can answer it however you want to, man. Just because I want the people to listen and get to know you a little better. Again, I'm a host, Ron G. If you don't mind, please follow me, comedian Ron G, on all things, comedian RONG. And again, we've said the N-word, sorry, nigga twice. Oh, Comedy Pop-Up. It's all right. We here.
And when you follow him, tag him your pictures of you and wearing wedges because he loves.
Let me tell you something. I hate wedges. Wedges, lace fronts, and yeah, that's it. I can't stand it. And loud, I can't. Ooh, I hate loud people. All right. Anyway, we're gonna keep it going. So here's my list of questions I want to ask both of you, so you can answer in whatever order you want to. If you could do coffee with one person, dead or alive, who would it be? For me, I would want to meet Coretta Scott King. I just think like she's just a dope female, and like to have a man who had this big dream, this big dream, and when you're living your dream, you don't have all the details. And he had to come home like, hey, look, babe, I might be going to jail today. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm hanging up Jesse. You know he on these hoes. But I just need you to believe in my dream. And for her to believe in his dream to the point where he died and became great, and she became great because she was believed in him enough. I just think that's the dope thing where you don't meet many Coretta Scotts and Michelle Obamas in your lifetime. So she'd be my person. For either one of you, dead or alive, who would you want to do coffee with?
Several people.
Just give me one.
Malcolm X. I would want
that would be
to
so
say
Brother Malcolm.
I met. There are only three people I ever wanted to meet in life: Michael Jackson, Muhammad Ali, and Malcolm X.
Right.
I met Muhammad Ali. I spent the day
Did
with
you?
him. Yeah.
Jeez.
It was amazing. But I would have really wanted, only not because Malcolm X was such a revolutionary, but because his evolution was so beautiful.
Yeah.
To see him go from one extreme of being a criminal, hating white people, going through the Nation of Islam, going to do his pilgrimage, coming back, and then learning to love human beings, and that his whole narrative was wrong was just beautiful too. I would love to just sit down and talk to.
I think
awesome.
I would like to sit down with Louis Farrakhan.
Oh,
I
love him.
Yeah, I would like to have a cup of coffee with him and just talk to him.
Yeah.
Because he's dope to me.
Listen, beloved.
He's dope. But I would like him and Tupac as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely like them. Just to hear what they had
Tupac
to
is a
say.
staple, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what hip hop would be like if Tupac was still alive?
Oh, my God.
I think it would look completely different.
I think it would be too.
I would love to hear grown up Tupac in this world. You
Right.
know?
He probably wouldn't even be rapping anymore.
Nah, he'd be
He's straight revolutionary. He
Right,
wouldn't be
absolutely.
rapping.
He was an evolving into a leader.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
he would be doing big philanthropy work.
That's
and
why
all
they
that,
killed
yeah.
him.
Absolutely.
I would love to see that, man. All right, next question. What smell or sound reminds you of home? For me, Pine Sol.
I can say that too.
My mom on Friday nights would clean the house with pine. I'm talking about everything smell like Pine Sol.
Everything.
That smell just reminds me of home.
Me too.
I can say Pine Sol wrong. Yeah, I can say Pine Sol.
And that's how you know that Puerto
and
Ricans
Comet.
are Negroes.
Pine
Yeah.
Sol and Comet.
The comment, yeah.
Yeah, comment.
Oh, you real hood. Ajax. Use a little Ajax.
Yeah.
So pine sol for both of y'all?
Yeah, I gotta say pine
Really?
sol.
What about a sound? Is there a certain sound that reminds you of home?
Yeah, the sirens of the police.
Yeah? That's funny.
Yeah, every time I hear a police siren, I think about home.
That's funny. I'm Southern. There's these bugs that you hear in the South. You only hear them in the South. They real loud screaming noise. You hear early in the morning. It reminds me of being home. I don't know why, but when I go home, it's like, what is that noise? But it's just, to this day, I don't know what the bug is, but I know it's a loud bug you hear early in the morning when the sun comes up.
Sounds, I would have to say high heels. Everybody can be sleeping. My mother will walk like she's on
the vice principal down the hallway.
I mean, loud as hell. And you saying to yourself, this lady, do you know we sleep?
Yeah.
She don't care. And to come in the room, you dead sleep. Zip my dress up. You like, for real?
Yeah.
Yes, I would have to say that too.
I became that lady.
You sit down somewhere?
Oh my
Sit
God.
down, man.
Oh
Zip
my
my
Be
God.
humble. Sit down. All right. Next question. If you could eat one thing for the rest of your life and you would not die from eating it, what would it be?
Oh, for me, it's seafood.
You eat seafood.
I can eat
Is there
crab.
anything specific?
Crab legs.
Yeah, every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Iron overdose. What's in it? Is
Mercury.
Iron? Mercury. Yeah. Mercury overdose.
I would
yeah.
eat blue crab and potato chips
Yeah?
every day.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You know, I'm from D.C. so,
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah,
I heard you had like the best
so-
crab cakes
Yeah.
Yes.
in D.C.
They
So I
do.
would eat it every single day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is mine? Probably Gushers. Little candies.
Oh, yeah.
I really love Gushers. I don't know why.
They're good though.
But for some reason I don't know, it reminds me of my childhood
You
too.
would
Being
say
home.
something healthy though, like the healthiest candy of them
Or
all.
pork chops. Pork chops too. I know you can't eat it every day, but my dad made the best fried pork chops. Like, it's incredible. They put a little barbecue sauce on them. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see. What is your favorite word?
Mother.
Hey.
My favorite word is druthers. And it's because of what the meaning of it is so because when people say if I had my choice, a choice is just a choice, but druthers is a choice that you desire and that you're happy about.
Yeah.
If I had my druthers, I would eat crab legs all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love that word. English is my second language, so I'm more fascinated by the English language than people who spoke it first.
Right.
But
We don't
that
have
when
appreciation for it.
when I learned that word, that's why I say things so literal. I'm so literal, and so
Yeah.
I say grocery store, and people laugh at me.
Yeah. You say refrigerator instead of from the South. We say refrigerator. Put it in the refrigerator.
We say refrigerator.
Yeah.
We say grocery store.
What is yours?
I don't know. I don't know. I get to cussing sometimes, so it probably be this some bullshit.
Yeah.
And you say it so well.
Yeah, I
though.
be like, this some bullshit.
Just flow too.
Yeah, just some bullshit.
I feel like my favorite word would be cummerbund.
Cumberbund?
I just like it's like badoom, badonkadonk. Like it's cummerbund.
Cumberbund.
Cummerbund.
Okay, cumberbund.
You hit a bounce in it, cummerbund. Like I don't know. That's stupid, but I like
Be
it.
with me all day today.
Cumberbund.
Cummerbund. All right, James Cumberbund is my name. Stupid.
Ron
All
ready
right,
to get married. Cumberbund.
Cumberbund. Hey, I actually am. All right. What's the one thing you learned about yourself from your last relationship? Not the person, from yourself. What did you learn about yourself? Again, if you're tuning in, you're listening to Comedy Pop-Up. We don't small talk here. And I'm questioning Aida Rodriguez and Dominique. And I have a few questions. And my last question was, what did you learn about yourself from your last relationship?
Be more in detail with your choices.
About the person?
Yeah, choose better. You gotta choose
You gotta
better.
see her
disgusted,
face.
like,
You gotta choose better and realize the qualities that you like in a person.
Yeah.
They might not always be, you gotta choose a person with certain qualities.
Yeah.
Yeah. They work better with your personality. So
Got you. What about you?
I would say that it's a lesson that I think I was supposed to learn before and I never learned was learning to learning when to fold them, to get out. When you realize that a relationship is not working for you
you gotta
and you just stay
Clock
in
out,
it because
yeah.
you don't know how to get out or you want to just knowing how to handle your business better about your time in your life and saying, this is not working for me. I need to disband from this and move forward. that was what I learned in my last relationship. I was like, this is not working for me. I'm out.
That's what I'm trying
Where
to
normally
say.
I would just stay and just try to
Right,
figure it
tough
out.
it out.
You can't say
It's that loyalty thing we spoke about earlier.
You can't change
When you don't know your
people.
value, you'll stay a little longer.
And sometimes, you know, you can be like, yeah, you know, this you have this is good, this is good. But the bad shit is,
Yeah.
it's outweighing
Right.
the good, so it's not working.
Right.
Choose better. It ain't always about what you want, it's what you need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like God knows what you need versus what you
want.
think
you
you
think
want.
this what you want, and you like, this ain't what I want.
This ain't it. I ain't signed up for this.
No.
For me, I feel like it's I'm a fixer. Like by nature, I like seeing things become better. I feel like, especially with women, I always tell women, grown men give you answers. Boys give you more questions. You should, when you date somebody, you should get more answers by the time you're done. Because if a man really loves you, he'll solve all your questions without you asking. Because I dated somebody who didn't compliment me one time, and it drove me nuts. I'm like, why didn't she compliment me? And then now the girl I date now, she complimented me, and I don't have to ask her. And now I got more answers than, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but I didn't know
that's a
that.
good
Because again, like I'm such a fixer. But what I learned is I can fix things, but I can't fix somebody I'm trying to do life with.
Yeah.
Because you try to fix somebody you're doing life with, then whatever you create, you got to sustain.
Yeah.
That's why I would like prefer somebody who's already whole instead of me trying to like, oh, I see potential, because potential is not a quantifiable thing. You know what I'm saying? But we try to fix them. Anyway, that's very deep.
They not gonna meet it.
I like it though.
Yeah.
It's very deep, but I learned it about myself, and now I threw my toolbox away. I don't want my toolbox in my house.
Yeah.
My toolbox stays in the garage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
We've
but
talked
again, like
about it
I
before.
genuinely love making people's life better because I feel like God gave me a prophetic gift to see people's potential and what they can be. And sometimes they don't see it for themselves. But a lot of times me speaking that to them is more confirmation than it is creepy. But they're like, how do you know all that? I'm like, well, God told me to tell you that. You know what I'm saying? But whether they choose to accept it or not, that's on them. But I can't date somebody who doesn't see it because it becomes painful for me because I can see their potential and they don't see it.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway.
So it hurts you in the end.
Right.
Especially if it's a person that's not really trying to step up to the plate. Like, he sees his potential in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they like, okay, I didn't see that, but I'm going to really work to that because I can see that for myself.
Yeah.
And some people, they be like, I don't have no potential.
What's the name of that man who does? He used to be on one of the shows, one of the talk shows. I think it was Tom Joyner, where he did relationship advice, and he had what's his name? One of the most valuable lessons I ever learned about relationships was from him, and something very, very simple. He was like, the most important thing about a relationship is direction. If two people are going in different directions, they're never going to work, no matter how much they love each other, no matter how much they have in common. It's really about where you're headed. If you are a Christian person or whatever it is, it's not about religion, but whatever it is, if you know you want to get married and have 3 children and you're dating somebody who hates kids and has never, and they want to move out of the country and you want to buy a house in the hills, you're never going to make it. It's because you're headed in 2 different directions.
Yeah.
And if somebody bends, then there will be resentment because you're asking somebody to be who they're not.
Absolutely.
And so that's been very valuable for me.
Yeah. I feel like also too, I could be wrong, but I feel like you're the type of person who, because you're your authentic self on stage now, you have to be that and be with somebody who's authentic as well in their personal life.
Yeah. That's number one for me.
Because I believe that grown women call young men to the carpet.
Yeah.
And when she calls you to the carpet, whoever you think you're trying to be, you're going to have to reconcile that. And if you don't, it's going to be painful, or you're going to try to control her either verbally, physically, or whatever. But, you know what I'm saying? Grown women call you to the carpet on your BS because I feel like men, we kind of date down on purpose to always kind of be the bigger voice, you know? And so when you date a woman who, again, like my girl now, I don't have to fix her. And her being so solid reminds me of what I'm not sometimes. And I have to deal with that on my own. It has nothing to do with her. And that painful process of dealing with yourself sometimes it's scary. It's scary because you got to, you think you're a good communicator, and later on you meet somebody who communicates better than you. Like, oh, okay, I need to step that up.
I ain't
you know what I'm saying?
about nothing.
I know.
Yeah. Or you meet a woman who grew up with expensive taste and you from the
I've been
hood.
telling these jokes. I'm in my own words. I ain't been talking about nothing. Okay.
Right.
My
Or,
bad.
like, my girl, she was allowed to have expensive taste. Like, she used to be a model, so she's around a bunch of people with a lot of money, and she works in the healthcare field, so all her friends got money, and I'm from the hood. I'm like, I don't go to nice restaurants. Like, me and my women, y'all get together. Let's go to a nice restaurant. Like, man, we only go to a nice our reference point for a nice restaurant is the one we've been to with somebody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now I got to research and find spots that I know she ain't been to. You know what I'm saying? Like, this stuff you don't have to deal with, but it's grown man stuff you have to figure out to make your lady happy if you want to, keep up. But anyway, I feel like grown women call you to the carpet. So I'm very happy and excited for both of y'all, man.
Ditto.
I want to...
Same to you, Ron.
Thank you, boo. I appreciate it. I want to have y'all say y'all credits, but I also feel like there's something that y'all would love to share for a young female comedian or somebody who wants to get into comedy that think it's just easy. Like, what is this something you want to tell anybody listening, either about being a woman or being a comic or being in entertainment, that you feel like it will help them along the way that you didn't necessarily get?
Girl, don't do it. No.
right.
We both thought it at the same
Go to college.
Girl, do what you was planning on doing in the first place. No,
Yeah.
no, but I just think you have to be yourself. You have to believe in yourself and just keep going. If you can keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're going to get where you're going, where you're trying to go, and be integral in what you do.
Yeah.
And be yourself.
I agree. I remember hearing comedians always tell me, you will always say, have fun. And I would be like, why do they keep telling me to have fun? Because there's a point where it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
And you get on stage and it just becomes a function. You know what I mean? But what I will say to young female comedians that want to make it is that I'll give you Tiffany Haddish as an example. If you think Tiffany made it because she got a nice body or because she's pretty or because, she's got a nice smile or a mole on her face, I'll tell you that's not true. She made it because she put her 10,000 hours in. Yeah. And there is nothing you're going to do in comedy, nothing that you're going to do that's going to get you there besides the work. It's going to be your work ethic, you being funny. And if you're not committed to that journey, then you shouldn't be in it. Because I know a lot of women who were hot and were beautiful and they slept with the right people and they got the opportunities and then nothing happened because they were not ready and they were not funny. So I believe in that. Be integral in your work and don't stop working because there is no substitute for the work. You cannot cheat comedy. You can cheat everything else. You cannot.
Absolutely. You can cheat social media.
You can cheat acting. You can
buy
cheat
it.
Edit.
Sleep with somebody with big numbers.
But you cannot cheat that time that's between you and that audience on that stage.
You can't cheat.
You can't cheat it. There's no cheating it.
And if you cheat, like the late great James Hanna used to say, the comedy gods gonna get your ass.
Right.
Absolutely. When you least expect it, them comedy gods, they gonna rain down on you and they gonna tell you a new one. So it's best not to even cheat.
I agree.
Absolutely, man. And I personally want to say, man, I'm more about people just finding their passion. Whatever your thing may be, whatever you're trying to figure out, find your passion. Sometimes we stick around jobs because we think we're getting a little check. And I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice and it's disrespectful to God because you going to this job every week for this check and basically sleeping with somebody and they're leaving $1 on the bed because you feel like you doing what people told you to do. And when I actually disrupted what I thought I was supposed to do and did what I was in my heart, my life completely changed. And I stuck with it, even if it didn't make sense. My first time on stage, as I mentioned before, I got booed and they told me to kill myself. But now I'm an Emmy-winning writer, producer, and I'm doing a podcast in Hollywood with two of the dopest females in comedy because I said yes to my dream. So I want to encourage you, if you listen to this podcast, man, that frustration you feel at your job is real and don't ignore it. When you ignore it, you kill yourself and you stop living. So please, I always say, dream big, hustle hard, and let God handle all the details. And that being said, man, I want to thank my guests, Dominique and Aida Rodriguez, for being great co-host with me today. And also, if you don't mind, can you let them know where we can find you or what you got coming up and how they can reach you on social media?
Funnyaida.com. I feel like I finally got my website together.
People still use websites?
Yeah, they do. They go for everything. But they go to check your shows and they want to know who your reps are. And I need it because I get a DM'd with a lot of bogus shows now.
Okay, got you.
Funny Aida, this Friday I'm taping the HBO special for with the 3 comics and there's 3 Latin comics. So I'm happy about that. And in February, my Shaq Showtime special thing comes out. So, I'm on a tour called the Every Woman Tour with April Macy and Shantae Wayans.
So cool.
And so
that's dope.
I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about more women being on that tour.
All right. And one more time, what's your handle?
At Funny Aida, AIDA. And on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, whatever else is out there.
So awesome. And you, Dominique?
I'm Dominique Comedy, COMEDI. I was trying to spell comedy different. And then I realized that didn't say comedy. Nobody asked you anyway, but I'm going to keep it.
So real slow, one more time. What is it?
Dominique Comedy. Comedi. Comedy with the I.
That's what it is.
Yeah, Dominique Comedy. That's Instagram, that's Twitter, and Facebook. I'm old school, so I do Facebook too. But on Facebook, it's Dominique Comedian. So,
So awesome, man. I'm so grateful to have you. And
I'm going to be in Phoenix next week, the night before Thanksgiving at the Celebrity Theater.
Hey.
Oh, nice.
Go, girl. Headlining.
Nah, I don't think I am. I think Guy is on this show.
Well, they don't need to know that. She headlining. Make sure you go there and check her out, man, in Phoenix, man. Again, I'm your host, Ron G. Please follow me, Comedian Ron G, Comedian RONG on everything. I got some cool stuff going on. I just booked a pilot for Nickelodeon playing a cool dad, and I'll find out in January if we get picked up. And I booked a movie with Cat Williams and Jay Farrell, which I shoot second week in December. So I'm very excited. So if you don't mind, please follow me, Comedian Ron G, Comedian RONG. And also go to follow us at Comedy Pop-Up. Comedy Pop-Up. Spelled just how it sounds. Follow us on all things Comedy Pop-Up. That being said, we don't small talk here on Comedy Pop-Up. This is our first episode. We're glad y'all got a chance to listen in. And we will do this every single week. So tune in. Comedy Pop-Up. Don't block your blessing.
I know.
That's the closing music.
I feel like somebody should have said nigga one more time.
One more time.
No, we had two.
Three for the roll.
Thank you for listening to that episode of the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. Once again, if you'd like to catch any of our live stand-up shows, December 9th will be at PBW in downtown Pomona. December 16th will be in Santa Monica, and December 23rd will be at the Rec Room in Huntington Beach. For more information on any of those shows, please visit our website, comedypopupla.com. And once again, please follow us on social media at Comedy Pop-Up.